and welcome to Movie Corner, where I talk to you about the latest movies available in theaters. You might notice that I'm wearing a brace on my wrist. I tripped over my own 2 feet because possibly my sandals were a little bit too big. That's all there really is to it, so let's move on. The first movie that I saw in theaters this go round was Oddity, and because I love the occult, I absolutely loved this film. This film was about a man who hired someone to kill his wife while they were renovating their new home. He had found someone new that he liked and figured he would lose everything if he got a divorce, so he thought the only way to keep what he had was to commit murder, or rather hire someone to commit murder. And the woman who gets killed in the story comes back as a ghost. Chaos ensues, the truth comes out. I thought it was incredibly imaginative, unique. I think it was shot in Ireland, I believe. You can hear the accent. Anyways, the next film was National Anthem. Now, National Anthem is about a guy who goes around trying to get work. He gets different jobs every day. He lines up like people do sometimes when they can't get steady work, and someone comes around and they decide whether or not to pick him for work that day. Basically, he lives in a rundown home with his mom and his little brother, and one day he gets picked to work out at this ranch where these things are going on that he never really understood or heard much about. Basically, they are cross-dressers and gay people and people exploring their sexuality and people who are polyamorous. And so it's the picture of your typical American cowboy, but it's not. And so it's very progressive, and it tackles some serious, kind of sad issues as well. The Fabulous Four was basically a relationship comedy about 4 women and how they interact with each other on vacation because one of them is getting remarried. Not much more to say about that one. The Trap. Now, there was a lot of hype building up to The Trap. It is an M. Night Shyamalan film, so naturally it has a twist at the end, and I don't want to talk too much about that. I don't want to give away the ending. It is about a big concert, and this guy goes to the concert with his daughter. He turns out to be a serial killer, which obviously is not the twist. There's more at the end. But somehow they find out that he's going to be at this concert, and they set a trap for him. Sounds like something unique, so probably good to go see as far as wanting a story you haven't heard before. But I felt like it had so much more potential, and it didn't really live up to its potential. Harold and the Purple Crayon. Now, I don't know if you remember the book as a child. I am in my early 40s, so basically Generation X, early generation millennial. And Harold and the Purple Crayon was a fabulous book about imagination, and I remember it quite well. I believe it actually came out sometime when I was a young child, and it must have maintained its popularity with the youth all along, because they ended up making a movie about it where Harold goes from this imaginary world where he could draw with his crayon into the real world, trying to seek out the author of this book, believing that the author, his father or his creator, he doesn't really understand that it's a book. He finds out along the way, as well as there being menacing characters who want to steal his crayon for its power. And it was cute. Not too serious. So if you're looking for something lighthearted, I recommend that. Also, plenty of nostalgia, like I was saying. And, I enjoyed it for the mere fact that it gave me a trip down memory lane and, reminded me of my youth. So there was that. It Ends With Us is a very serious drama about domestic abuse. It takes place in Boston. So for those of us who live here, that is great. A lot of us always go to see any film that's supposed to take place in Boston just to see the shots that might have actually been shot here and what the differences are in terms of where they shot other scenes. Boston Pride, of course. And it was funny. So there was a line in the movie where one of the guys was young and he was talking about moving to Boston, and he was like, nothing is better than Boston. And the whole crowd laughed hysterically. That'll just give you a picture of what Boston is like, what the locals think of our town, and even though we say we have a lot of pride, no, it was a pretty good movie. Blake Lively stars in it, so that is the star of Gossip Girl. That is Ryan Reynolds' wife, or Deadpool's wife, as we now know him. But yeah, so very serious, very Boston, and pretty cool if you don't mind that kind of subject matter. Romulus Alien was awesome. Action-packed, horror sci-fi, and it built on the plot of the original. It ends up happening years later, but it ties into the whole thing in a great way that builds the universe and extends it. And I did not see that coming, because you don't actually see much about that in the trailers, which is good. I don't like seeing everything in the trailers. My Friend Penguin was the last one I saw this go around, and I feel like I saw most of the film in the trailers. It was cute. It was based on a real story, so if that's the kind of thing you're looking for, My Friend Penguin. I thought I got a good night's sleep last night. I still feel a little tired. Jeez. It's called My Penguin Friend. I was actually falling asleep a little bit in the movie, so maybe there were parts that weren't in the trailer that I didn't actually see. But at the end, they show you some clips from the original guy who, he saved the penguin from drowning because the penguin was covered in oil, and after he saves the penguin, he lets the penguin go back to his penguins, like his other creatures of his species, but the penguin keeps coming back to visit every year, and it's amazing. And the penguin ends up doing this for like 8 years. And so there's the drama and the spectacle of that, and just the awe factor. And it was wholesome. It was wholesome. So that was pretty cool, because a lot of films, either they're bad or they're not very wholesome. So that's my take on the 9. I try and do about 9 at a time that I've seen because I want some of these films at least to still be in theaters when you hear me talk about them. This, by the way, it was just, what do you call it? I was going to say inflamed. It's a little swollen, the tendon. I don't think it's an actual sprain, or maybe it's a minor sprain, no broken bones or anything. But yeah, I fell and scraped myself up kind of badly because I'm a little bit of a klutz and maybe I don't know how to buy the right size shoes. Nothing serious, don't worry, I will be fine. They said everything should be healed in about a week. So there is that. I wanted to get the video out so you could hear. And for those few of you, I think there's like 4 maybe that actually watch this series on a regular basis, enjoy.